takes place the day you realize you're black. And if it's not a moment of black self-awareness, it's probably nevertheless the moment you were first introduced to the idea of black as something negative. The first moment for me occurred in kindergarten, and I had 3 such moments. My mother worked in Washington, D.C.'s LaFont Plaza, the office of the comptroller of the currency. Across the street, the Department of Housing and Urban Development ran the kindergarten in its child care center. The HUD building has a distinctive design, a curved concrete structure in the shape of an elongated X with evenly spaced recessed windows arrayed in a precise grid. When seen in conjunction with the stormtrooper outpost-looking parking attendant booth, it felt as if we were on the set of Star Wars. Tucked away at an interior corner of a courtyard was the child care center's playground. That's where I developed a crush on a little girl in my class, insofar as a 4 or 5-year-old even knows what that means. I would demonstrate my affection by throwing things at her and singing Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder's Ebony and Ivory in her general direction. She was white. I don't remember anyone making a big deal of our racial differences, but I remember noticing them myself. Also, I sang Ebony and Ivory at her, which I still can't believe. The next year, she and I had moved on to different worlds, and I became obsessed with the song Uptown Girl by Billy Joel. Not until writing this book did I realize how perfect for the situation the lyrics of that song are. Essentially, she was living in her white bread world, and I was her downtown man. Could you imagine a more perfect metaphor? I don't think so. The second moment of black self-awareness came courtesy of my mother and her sense of interior design. Our household was stocked with images of proud blackness, a Malcolm X portrait, stacks of jazz, soul, funk, and R&B records, and 2 massive paintings, one integrating a set of ankhs and the other of a black power fist. Footnote: the ankh is an Egyptian hieroglyph symbolizing the key of life or eternal life. It appears often in Egyptian art, Egyptian tombs, and season 5 of Lost. It's hard not to know you're black when you're physically surrounded by it on a daily basis. And there's actually an image of the ankh-filled poster, which is 4 to 6 feet tall. I don't know exactly, because I was tiny, but now I'm not tiny anymore. So everything I thought was huge as a kid is like this big. It's called relativity. You should, study science again. The third moment of self-awareness occurred on a childhood camping trip with my mother and my friend Reginald, somewhere in Virginia, I think. Reggie and I were playing alone in a nearby lake when a little white boy approached us from the shore and loudly announced, "There's niggers in the water! Look at the niggers!" I like to imagine that our first reaction was to spin around, searching frantically, yelling, "Where? Niggers, where? Let me at them! Where they at?" But we didn't do that. Reggie and I had a hard choice to make in that moment. You see, the reason we knew each other is that we were in karate classes together back in D.C. And we were very, very good at karate. We conferred on whether or not to use our combined karate skills to kick this little racist ass. But, considering our location in the who knows where woods of probably Virginia, we decided against it. In that moment, the black pride I absorbed in my home was balanced by the embarrassment, rage, paranoia, and self-restraint that often accompany blackness in the outside world of America. And then I go to interview other people about their first moments of realizing they were black. Here's a little story about how